Start it again.
Yeah.
Welcome to Men's Style Fashion. What is Greg Minnaar to you?
Well, he's a good lifelong friend. I've known Greg since he was 6 years old. I met him in 1986, 1987, somewhere around there.
Right.
He was riding motocross and BMX and stuff like that, and I was friends with his family, extended family. And yeah, we just got to know each other, and we've been kind of following a similar path, him on the bike and me behind the scenes of photography and videography for, last 14 years of World Cups, on and off.
Do you spot a champion? Like, tell us the story, you know.
I think you can see a champion in the way he handles himself and all those kinds of stuff, but like when he was 6, he was a naughty little school kid, you know, and he was causing trouble, and all through his school career he just caused trouble, and he took it out on the teachers and all that kind of stuff, and it wasn't his thing, you know, he hadn't found his place in the world yet. But since mountain biking came along, he's just come more and more focused, and to be the champion that he is. You know. Yeah.
You mentioned those two names, Mikey. You mentioned.
Mike Van Zyl.
Yes. You said.
Yeah, I used to race road bikes like way back, and Mike Van Zyl was a good friend of ours from road, and he became Greg's mechanic, and now so our paths have just constantly crisscrossed, and now he works in Colorado and used to work for Greg on the circuit, and then gone through the industry in a different direction. So it's quite weird that we all lived probably within 3 kilometers of each other, and now we work like all over the world, all around the world, doing just mountain bikes. So it's a cool little story of how our small little town produced 3 very different people, and kind of known as pretty high up in our ranking of what we do. You know, me as a photographer, Greg as a rider, and Mike as a mechanic.
So how, I'm always saying behind the scenes, it's people like you that help form and define the champion. So what role did you play throughout his
I've always helped Greg from a media perspective, like just taking photos, putting his name out, helping him sort of manage relationships with certain media, and just kind of promoting him behind the scenes. You know, he doesn't need much promotion. He is who he is. He's world champ multiple times.
Yes.
But it was just to try and get his persona out there. Like, people see him at the race, and he's super focused and intense, and he's like, he concentrates like supremely hard on his job.
Yeah.
But away from the scene, he's so funny, still mischievous, loves playing jokes on people and just causing mischief. But on the scene, he's on the job. So it's I'm trying to get the best of both across to make sure that people understand that he is super humorous, super funny guy. Yeah.
What would be a crucial highlight moment, you and him?
For me, that when he talked about his first World Cup overall in Mont Saint Anne, his folks were there, and his dad was crying behind the grandstands, and all of us were in tears, and it was amazing to see. And he was 19 at the time, and nobody could believe he beat the 10-time world champion to that race, you know, and it was mind-blowing to see. And then his first world champs win in Lugano in 2003. I was next to the track, like quite near the finish, and the photographers I was working with at the time were just trying to rile me up, and he's coming, you got it, you know, and putting me under more and more pressure, but joking, but it was fun. And then when he came, I still got goosebumps thinking about it, and he came past, and I just literally ran almost behind him to get to the finish, to get the reaction of the crowd, and him standing there knowing that he'd won. And I got on the phone to his dad, and it was tears all around again, you know. It's something special,
What's your advice? Because the common thread with athletes is it's the journey. It's not actually the win, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like the way I work on a race weekend, you kind of follow the story. You can feel the story developing, and you can see who's going fast and who's got their mind in it, and who's working things through properly and getting, you know, to that point where when they get to the race, they are number one. And it's awesome to see those stories like unfold, and not just like short term, but also long term, like over their career, how they've progressed, how they've thought things through, how they've built up relationships, how all these things all come into play to produce, you know, that number one at the end of the day.
Were there any moments where he thought, you know, I'm giving up? Did that ever enter his mind?
I think Sorry, I don't think it ever did. I don't think he ever. He's not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He had some pretty serious setback injuries. The thrombosis he got from the compartment syndrome.
Yeah.
He was crashing a motorbike. He was preparing to ride the Roof of Africa.
Right.
Super tough enduro, 3-day enduro. It's like one of the hardest in the world.
Wow.
And he crashed practicing for that, and he got his leg and had to do the fasciotomy. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of worried him. You know, the nerve damage that they had after surgery and all that kind of stuff. It really, I think that put him under pressure.
There was a moment Jason was saying that he had raced with a broken, is it a collarbone? Or?
Broken shoulder.
Yeah,
Well,
were you
his
there
shoulder-
at that moment? Or?
I thought it was about 2 years
Right.
ongoing pressure where he would come down a race run and then he'd get to the finish and his face would be white like a sheet.
Right.
And you could see his shoulder popped out.
Right.
And while he was riding, he would throw his shoulder to pop it back in. And he did that for like 2 years. And eventually at the World Champs that we were talking about in 2007, he crashed, rolled, popped his shoulder out, popped it back in and raced and got fourth. And everyone was like, it's
Wow.
insane, to do that. And he got the surgery and touch wood has been fine since.
So it comes down to a champion really is defined.
He doesn't give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knows exactly what he wants.
What's your message to Greg right now?
Keep on doing what you're doing.
Right. Brilliant.
He's becoming quite the character on the circuit. He's matured so much, but also he's developed his persona, and
Right.
he really has become a character on the circuit and one of the statesmen of the sport.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a real interesting point, and we'll end it there. When does a man, how can I put this, grow up? When does he come into his own, would you say?
I think for me it was when I realized I do what I love, so it's easy to do.
Right.
And the passion will drive you no matter what you do.
Right.
And for Greg, I think the same thing. He's found his place in the world, and
Yeah.
he is just living it. And you do, if you're driven by love and passion, it's so simple.
Yeah.
Because you get out of bed and you're
Yeah, you're there.
hyped to be doing it.
Yeah.
And lucky to be doing it.
Gary, what can I say? Behind the scenes is what makes a champion,
Yeah.
and congratulations
Thank you.
with that.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Greg. Congratulations.
Uno nos attipi e uno brilla. Ja,